G'day guys, huida, kia ora. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, subscribe, and yes, you are here today because the Freedom Cup is on the line this weekend between the mighty All Blacks and the reigning, defending, the current holder of the Freedom Cup, the Springboks. And obviously, in the Rugby Championship, the rule is that you need to win 2 games to win the cup back from the defending team. So if the Springboks wins this one and it ends up being a draw, one apiece, the Springboks will retain the cup. So yeah, this is quite an important match for both teams, especially the All Blacks after losing 2 games in a row last year. I'm sure they will really want it back. And also, same thing could be said for the Springboks. It took them like, what, 10 years or something? Like since 2000, no, more than 10 years, like 15 years or something since they've win it from the All Blacks. Surely they don't want to just give it back immediately in 12 months' time. And yeah, a lot is on the line. And, you know, a game of such monumental occasion, obviously, it needs to be played in the most contentious stadium in the history of rugby. And that is Wellington. Sky Stadium. I mean, the geniuses in New Zealand who built the stadium put it right next to the bay, right next to the water. And as a result, there has been some very, very inconsistencies when it comes to the performances of the team. And not to mention that it's a cricket pitch. The oval shape itself is already a little bit misleading to players in terms of finding touch. Sometimes they judge it differently because they see where the seats are and then they like mistouch or kick the ball out on the full. Happens all the time in an oval stadium. But in addition, the fact that the stadium is next to the water, next to the bay, as you can see, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful New Zealand. It's quite windy, and not only that it's windy, because of the location, the wind could come from just about any direction. My understanding, I've never been. So you end up in the situations where goals were missed. You have, you know, like I said, touch finder is already a bit difficult with the oval shape. Makes it even harder with the swirling wind in the stadium. And boy, we've seen some absolute shockers in the years. You know, the New Zealand lost to England all the way back in 2023, I think it was. Carlos Spencer missed a bunch of conversions because of swirling wind. And also, the Bledisloe Cup was last lost to Australia at the Sky Stadium in 2002, I think it was, where, you know, John Eales kicked a penalty goal at the end to win the cup. And it's just one, and recently as well, Sky Stadium, the All Blacks has gone on a bit of a losing streak. You know, it's like a 50% win rate, I think it was. Like, probably less than 50%, maybe a bit more than 50% now. Just really, really bad results for the All Blacks here as well. And yeah, this weekend, against the old rivals, the Springboks, the record isn't that great either. So, out of the last 15 times in Wellington, 9 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses, and most of the losses were most recently to the Springboks as well. The last time, 15th December 2018, 36-34 to the Springboks, and that was pretty much like, you know, the beginning of the Rassie Erasmus. That game literally marked like the beginning of the Rassie Erasmus like era of bringing the Springboks out of the cauldrons and then back into like a prominent team, leading them into winning the Rugby World Cup in 2019. So this has not been a good spot for the All Blacks, and sure enough, this, you know, with all that history on the line and the Freedom Cup, this is, you know, this is like one of the most, I think, most unpredictable game of the whole season so far between the two teams. And as a result, and obviously, you know, the All Blacks, Sir Richie has walked into camp to try to instill some confidence in the players. Okay, I think the All Blacks gonna win now. Sir Richie has arrived. No doubt this is gonna be a win for the All Blacks, I think. But yeah, Sir Richie has joined the camp. Rassie Erasmus as well named the team early in the really early this week, showing the world that, like I said in my, you know, news report earlier this week, showing the world that Rassie Erasmus already made the team to play in this game prior to coming to New Zealand. Like, all the players has been changed, positions has been reshuffled around. As a result, the selection policy didn't seem to reflect anybody's performance from the previous game. So it's indicated to me that, you know, and in addition to all the changes to new players, we can, yeah, really indicated to me that Rassie Erasmus, where his mindset is at, he's trying to build towards the future. He has a game plan, a long-term plan that is carried forward to hit an end point at the Rugby World Cup. He's not looking at week to week and trying to, tweak the selections here and there, and then, try to win a game based on last week's performance. He's looking a lot further than just a week-on-week basis. So this is, again, nobody knows how this is going to work out. Is this, like, if the team has been selected, months in advance, doesn't mean they already have a game plan that they think is gonna work and work really well in the windy conditions at Wellington. You don't know. Like, they could just come out with a game plan that you've never seen before, like that first half against the Wallabies. I think something like that could be seen from them, and they just completely do something that's unexpected and pull the rabbit out of the hat. You just never know with these things, the key here is you don't know how long the Springboks has been planning for this game with this team. That's the question we can only find out until we see them play, because there's no way they just put this team together in a week and, they must, like, plan for this game for a very, very long time for these youngsters, potentially even going back to those alignment camps. They've already had players in play preparing for stuff like for this game, and we'll have to see if it works. Rassie Rasmus is going to look like a complete genius. If it doesn't work, he's got more information to churn through, more data to use going forward in towards the Rugby World Cup as well. And so, obviously, with the game with this magnificent proportions, we've got one of the better referees in the world right now, Nika Shumakeli from Georgia. He's been pretty decent. He had a outing Alliance tour as well, and he will be the referee in charge for this match. I do think that I do think the one thing I have to criticize for him, I do think that his interpretation of the scrum is a little bit, I would say it's a little bit inaccurate in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see. We might have a lot to talk about by the end of the game with his understanding, with his judgment on the scrum, because sometimes I think there are clear penalties that he did not give out in the scrum as a result, like especially when it comes to collapsing the scrum. We'll see how that's going to pay out this weekend for Nika. And then we've got the weather. It's going to be on the Saturday. Cloudy, maybe a little bit of rain. Always, you never know with New Zealand. It rain every now and then. We'll never know, but it's going to be a Saturday evening. Quite warm, actually. 14 degrees coming into the Saturday afternoon. So it's not too cold. 34 kilometers per hour wind. That seems really strong, doesn't it? My goodness. So yeah, it's the wind seems to be something that could be a factor here in play. The Rugby World Rankings, if South Africa win by any margin, they will reclaim the number 1 position and bump New Zealand and Ireland back down. And this is something that I think a lot of Springbok fans will be really excited to see here. So let me just zoom that in so you can see it. Anyway, let's have a look at the men who are going to be representing their respective nations for this monumental occasion. Now, the scrummaging was a big issue last week. We've got Ethan de Groot, Somasoni Taukei'aho, and Tyrell Lomax getting into the starting position. Tyrell Lomax, I'm pretty sure he came off the bench last week. I think it was de Groot and the other what's his name? And Fletcher Newell started last week, which was fine in the first half. And Tyrell Lomax came on and actually lost the scrum feed against Nche. So this is again. Jason Ryan has talked about that horrendous scrum. I'm sure they've done a lot of work behind the scene to improve on that. And like Lomax has been, traditionally a really, really solid performer for the All Blacks. And I think one of the reasons he didn't do well last week was the fact that he has been injured in and out of the team for pretty much the entire Super Rugby season. So this is, again, we'll have to see how much work he's done behind the scene this weekend. And this is going to be a really, really, really tough battle again against the Springboks. Ox Nche, by far the best loose forward in the world right now. Not loose forward, loose prop in the world right now. And he's going to be licking his chops again this week on Lomax and potentially get another number on his cap. Malcolm Marx coming number 2. And Thomas du Toit. Or is it Wilco Low? I don't know. Is it Thomas du Toit or is it Wilco Low? I don't know. But anyway, Thomas du Toit was not the guy that won the scrum in the second half. But he did start in the first half like he is now today. So this will be interesting. Very, very intriguing to see how this is gonna, and also very intriguing how the referee is gonna call if the scrum goes down in any event that is very likely going to happen. So we've got Scooty Barrett. Scooter comes in number 4 for the captaincy. It's up against Luke Diacha, gets called in number 4, ahead of Ebenezer. Ahead of Ebenezer. He's taking the Ebenezer's jersey coming off the bench. Tupuvai gets a number 5 jersey for the All Blacks. And we've got Ruan Nokia retains the number 5 jersey from leftover from last week in that number 5 jersey. Was there a change for Tupuvai for the All Black last week? I think Vai is number 5 last week. Simon Parker retains number 6 jersey. I thought he was, I wasn't confident for him, but his performance last week was actually not too bad, to be honest. Coming number 6 for the All Blacks. A lot of you guys said he had a pretty good season against the Chiefs, and he proved me wrong. I was concerned that he might not be up to the task, but he did really, really well last week. Gets a nod again. A blindside flanker over at 6 jersey. Sia Khaleesi gets moved to his more familiar position at number 6 in the open side position for the Springboks. Adi Savea gets number 7 jersey for the All Blacks once again after his monumental performance last week for the All Blacks at 100th Test cap. Pretty much ended the game for the All Blacks. What's going on? My camera just glitched out. Pretty much won the game for the All Blacks last week with a turnover, crucial turnover near the end. Once again, huge performance required from him this week. Pieter-Steph du Toit gets a number 7, retains the number 7 jersey for the Springboks. We've got Wallace Satiti retains the number 8 jersey for the All Blacks. Anyway, yeah. The All Blacks, I think that's correct. Was Adi Savea A last week? I can't remember. Anyway, let's move on. Can't remember. For the Springboks, the big return, Jasper Wiese, the headbutt machine, has returned to the number 8 jersey. And last week, I was wondering why he wasn't here. He was suspended still, so he's finally off. And Rasi has showed that, a second chance for Jasper to have another shot for the Springbok jersey. I was concerned that he wasn't never going to get a shot at Springboks again, but he will be able to redeem himself this weekend. Coming number 9, Noah Hotham. I incorrectly said he was on the bench last week, actually. He's being called up from the Crusaders to the number 9 jersey. He had an outstanding season for the Crusaders, winning the championship as well at the 9 jersey. Really, really big performance from him. And Kobus Reinach gets called off the bench for the Springboks at number 9. Beauden Barrett retains the number 10 jersey for the All Blacks. Sasha Fangberg Ngomezulu comes in number 10 ahead of Hendrik Pollard. So this, again, I thought when Sasha came on last week, immediately the tempo kicked up. He did just outstanding carries. Immediately found space, but he was playing out of the 15 position, so he was able to spot where the space is. Now moved to the 10. This is going to be a different dynamic on how he's going to perform, but we have to wait and see if it's going to be he's going to be okay. Leroy Carter, this guy, I've been very, very excited to wait for his debut. This guy was an absolute try-scoring machine for the Chiefs out of number 11 jersey. He has one of the most biggest and one of those biggest legs I've ever seen in the world, and just completely ripped and absolute. He looked like the Terminator when he runs. Like, seriously, he has a robotic, mechanical style when he runs, and just absolute power. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he's going to get a try as well. I look forward to some maybe chip over the top for Beauden Barrett to put up for him this game. Absolutely incredible to see him here debuting for the All Blacks. So congratulations, Ethan. Not a hooker. Comes in at number 11. He was on the bench last week covering number 23 jersey. He's up in the winger position. Some of you guys have indicated to me that he actually plays winger normally in his club, despite the fact that he supposedly a center. So yeah, it's quite a position for him that he's used to. Coming at number 12, center now. We've got Jordie Barrett. I thought, again, the style that he brings, a lot of people felt that he should play more like Maya Nonu. I think the Jordie Barrett style is just great. He's a good ball carrier, not as dominant as, Maya Nonu, but he's a much better player at creating space for people around him, and he's also better at being a second playmaker. I actually think Jordie Barrett has more tools in his box than Maya Nonu. But on the opposite side of him is the greatest Springbok in the history of the Springboks. Damien Willems returning from his finger injury. He's back at a 12 jersey. He had a pretty poor performance off the bench against the Wallabies in that first test. But I think he came on at the fullback position. He will be at 12, and also I'm pretty sure him and Sasha plays together at the Stormers as a combination. So this again something that I think Rassi Rasmus wants to work through, and also Damien Willemse playing 12 anyway in the club. Put him at 15 in the when he returned against the Wallabies was clearly a little bit out. To be honest, he was playing more like a 12, like an additional center than a 15. So I think that it's actually better for him to just kind of ease him back into international test in a position that he's more, I guess, familiar with nowadays in the club rugby level. So again, he's such an important player for the Springboks. He literally covers the entire backline for the Springboks, and just having him back in shape, back in form, back in the roles that he's used to is really, really, really important for the Rassi Rasmus Springboks doctrine going into the Rugby World Cup. Coming number 13, we got Billy Proctor. Gets that again for the number 13 jersey for the All Blacks. Caden Moody gets moved to number 13. I think it was. Yeah, he was off. Was he off the bench last? I think he was on the wing. Actually, he was on the wing last week. It was Dale Ender and Jesse Krill both getting a break this week. Will Jordan gets number 14 jersey once again for the All Blacks. Pretty sure he was on the fullback position last week. It's moved to the wing. This is something that a lot of people criticize. They feel like Jordan is better at fullback. I think Jordan's better at fullback as well. But again, at international test level, for some reason, it goes way back, even back to when Ian Foster was running the team. They really like having Will Jordan in the winger position and the number 14 jersey for some reason. But hey, it is, again, a bit different dynamic for the All Blacks. A different option in the 15 for kicking as well, with Damien McKenzie coming in. Cheslin Kobe retains number 14 jersey for the Springboks. And finally, Apalele Fasi comes in number 15, who had an outstanding performance against the Wallabies in both tests, in my opinion. Gets caught in, again, at number 15 ahead of Willie LaRue. So yeah, this is interesting selections here. In the reserves now, we've got Brody McAllister comes in number 16, Tamati Williams number 17, and Fletcher Newell moves down to the bench, number 18 for the All Blacks. Marnus van der Merwe comes in number 16, a new addition to the Springboks. Jan Hendricks Vessels, number 17, and Wilco Lowe, number 18. Vessels replaces the Fat Thor, number 17, but Wilco Lowe moves down to the bench. I think it was moved down the bench. Did he move down? Was he? No, he was on number 18 as well last week. Coming number 19, Fabian Holland for the All Blacks. Number 20, Duplessis Karefi, who's basically like a very similar style as Wildkard Smith, given the way he plays for the Hurricanes, but I just think he hasn't quite got the timing right in some of the breakdowns. But I can see the idea, and I really like that the All Blacks is pushing him to be that that impact player off the bench like Wildkard Smith at number 20. Number 19 for the Springboks, Ahia Snyman, and number 20, Albertus Smith comes in for the number 20 jersey for impact play as well. I think Wildkard was outstanding last week, crucial, almost clutching, the win. I think that Karifi has quite a bit more work to do, and also Karifi comes on at 7. I'm pretty sure comes on at 7. He's not coming on at 8, whereas Wildkard potentially comes back on at 8 again this weekend. Number 21, we got Finlay Christie for the mighty All Blacks. He's been moved down to the bench. Grant Williams comes in number 21 for the Springboks. Quinton Tupaia, number 22 for the All Blacks at covering the center. We got Manila Bok comes in at 22 for the fly half position. And finally, number 23, I'm really excited to see this man again, Ruben Love. He's good enough to play fullback, good enough to play fly half, and we'll just have to wait where he comes on for the game. And he was outstanding for the Hurricanes at 10, and I think that they might actually put him at 10 tonight. I really want to see him that attempt. I don't want to see him put at fullback. I want to see him at 10. He is just one of those, like I don't know, he could be like next best thing in the world, I think, for 10. Like, he's just so confident, so, he has that bit of a swagger about himself, and just so good as a rugby player. And I think if he was in a rugby, gives him the right pathways, giving the right, guideline, he's gonna be the next big thing for the 10 jersey. And I see him ahead of Damien McKenzie for the 10 jersey when Beauden Barrett retires. I think he's just that good, to be honest with you. I think he's just that talented and has the potential for that next All Blacks 10 jersey. Finally, number 23, Andre Esterhuizen is going to come on, probably at hooker, all right? Sorry, not a hooker, a blindside flanker, but we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? It's Rassie Erasmus. He'll do whatever it takes to win the game. And we've seen Esterhuizen coming on as a forward, but we haven't officially seen him do that at the tier 1 level yet. So this might be the week we see that Esterhuizen coming on to a forward position rather than replacing Willemse, just replacing Willemse at 12. Anyway, this is going to be so tough to call. The Springboks will come out with a game plan that nobody's ever seen before and then just blow the game away and clutch out a win. And then the All Blacks could just, with Richie McCaw in camp, could rise to another level. I don't know. I don't really know what the result's going to be, but my prediction is going to be 21 points to 21, a draw, and for the All Blacks to win the Freedom Cup back from a draw and a win. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the reviews. Cheers.